In 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, go.
Everybody, and welcome back to the Kryptonite Show. Your host, Superman, in the house. And man, I love that countdown. I hope you guys do too. We're going to be counting down pretty much pump tires, many of the popular ones that have been doing well. So we're going to talk about what pump tires is. Obviously, it was founded there by Richard Hart, and we're going to get into some of the top tokens that are out there at the moment. And I hope you guys enjoy the show. Now, obviously, markets go up and down, and so we're going to talk about that too. We're going to get into a little bit about PDI as well. We got some pretty big action happening there on PDI. So we're going to talk about that and the flop auctions. So let's see where that leads us. And of course, we're going to do a market update. So it's going to be a lot of fun. Now, I have posted, of course, in the comment section, I've posted joining the Telegram. You can join up to that. And if you want to join the Discord, which I highly recommend, we have a wonderful community in there. Then join up using the links in the video description. We have community memberships and we have a strategy club. Join up to those as well for crypto. And of course, we also talk about lots of other things in society and entertainment. So get in there and join us today for that. Now, it's going to be a fun show. Pump tires, of course, is one of the main categories that have been performing extremely well on PulseChain. So we're going to talk about that. It also benefits, burning Pulse and burning PulseX. So it's very, very, very exciting stuff to see. We've been covering other key categories on PulseChain that have been performing well, including printer tokens, and of course, including some of the biggest communities and investor opportunities like PDDC. So we've been covering a lot of stuff, even speculative stuff like PDI Maker. We cover that too, and because PulseChain's got so many cool things on it, it has been very, very exciting. We also see other big communities moving into things like Teddy Bear Takeover. That's been popular, and we've just having a lot of fun. On PulseChain. There's so much exciting innovation and exciting opportunities on PulseChain, and we're just having fun to talk about. I don't know about you guys, but it is starting to really ramp up on PulseChain. We got our Fast Abdul in the house there. I'm here for the tech. Good to see you, Fast Abdul. Big shout out. Now, speaking of tech, Fast Abdul just launched the fourth liquidity fork ink printer there, and it's been doing very, very well. In fact, it's got the biggest liquidity. So that's performed like a boss there. We got our community leader, Wookie, in the house. Wookie is here for the pump, and the pump tires, no doubt, and the pump tires. Big shout there. Now, if you're over on Rumble, don't forget to hit the follow button. And if you're over on X, don't forget to do that too. In fact, I need to repost the show out. So let me do that before we get going. We're going to obviously start off with our general market update, as we always do. And then we're going to get into doing our pump tires update. So it's going to be a lot of fun. All right, without further ado, let's get into it. And if you guys don't know, we are just about at 300 followers on X. And as you guys also know, I had to restart. So I've had to restart there. Many people get taken down from X, unfortunately. I mean, Elon Musk doing a great job heading towards freedom, but there's still a lot of problems there. And we just saw recently Randy and Brandy there. I don't know, I'm almost turning into a comedy show sometimes. I swear it. So we got. I know. It's really crazy. But we've got a lot of things happening here, and I'm rebuilding back 299 followers. So if you're going to make the 300, let us know. I'm going to post this link in here, and you join up today to X there and give me a follow. That's all I can say. Give me a follow. 300. We're back at 300. I might as well post a 300 meme, right? Might as well do that. So join up. Who's going to be number 300 to follow me on X there? So I think my old one used to have about 5,700 or something. That was way ages ago. So it'd probably be, if it was still going, probably be up like 7, 8, maybe even 10. But we're starting again. We're starting here. Brendan says, I'm here for Brandy. Yeah, I bet you are. That's pretty funny. All right, so let's get on there. I don't have enough comedy for you. But I'll give you a bit of a magical twinkle. How about that? All right, so we're into it. So we're moving forward. There's the show just live on X. So get out there and share that around. If you haven't shared the channel around. Definitely share it around. In fact, I'll copy the link there. You guys can share it around in real time. And let's get this stuff. Let's just get the action going, right? Let's get the action. So if you're on X, share that link around, and let's get this show trending. That's the way we want to do it. Let's get the show trending. We've had pretty good live shows recently. It's been a lot of fun there. Bob Fetter there says followed. Nice, Bob Fetter. And let's see whether they made it. Let's do a refresh here and see whether it. 300. Yeah. All right. Woo-hoo. We did it, guys. We did it. And fantastic. Thanks, Bob Fetter there. Yeah. All right. That's how we rock and roll. So we're doing pretty well today with the old follow. So definitely smashed it out. And thanks, everybody, for your work. So let's get into the markets. The markets, folks. We have got the stock market for Tuesday's results in the United States. It is Wednesday here in New Zealand, of course. We've got S&P 500 ends lower after pairing. Gains, or paring gains, as they might say, amid tariff uncertainty. That's still obviously going to be ongoing. But if you watched my show yesterday, it was an alpha show. If you haven't watched that, got to watch that. We actually had so much good stuff in that show yesterday. Honestly, if you want confidence in where the markets are heading, that show is the bomb. It is the bomb. So you don't want to, if you missed it, go back and watch it. It was yesterday's show, and we covered an interview with a White House advisor doing all the work for crypto, and man, it is bullish. And a lot of those clips out of that live stream there with Anthony Pompliano went viral. So we definitely want to check that out. And I added Trump's general strategy in there too, so you don't want to miss that. So we got Dow Jones there is down 0.4%, 156 points, sitting at 40,368. Remember, the Dow Jones got the top 30 industrials in it. That's kind of the category that's in there. S&P 500 down, 0.1%, 9 points to 5,396. So not much of a move down there. And the Nasdaq hardly moved, so down 0.05%. So 8.3 points to 60,823. So not a bad day, maybe even a sideways day. But not much else happening there, and that's kind of where we are. Let's go to the commodities. Let's jump into that. So we got West Texas at $61.44, Brent oil at $64.80, and then we got gold at $3,274. So gold is still performing well, up 1%, and then we got silver at $32.33. Silver hasn't quite broken away yet, but we're going to keep our tabs on that. That is looking good for gold. Let's jump into the markets as well. We got some more comments, I think. We got Bob Fetter, cry all the way. Yeah, that's the Pump.Tires. We're going to get into that, Bob. Appreciate that. Wooker's here for the pudding as well. I knew you would be. All right, so let's get into the next part of the show, and that is we're going to get into the markets for crypto. So we got, at the moment, crypto is down slightly, and we're going to zoom in on this. So let's do that. And I've got Wooker's here for the pudding. I've got that up still. That's hilarious. We got... I don't know. We got BTC at $83,565, down 1.25%, and we got Bitcoin dominance at 61.68. As you guys know, the last bull market 70% was where we hit before we had altcoin season. But once again, I'll repeat myself every day. I don't expect that to get that high. That would be quite a surprise for a couple of reasons, which I've laid out before. Ethereum there is at $1,588, down 2.3%. XRP down 2%. BNB down 1%, so it all down, 3%. Solana down 2.4%, and ADA down 4%. So ADA, the big move down at the moment on there as well. So Litecoin down 2%. That is where we are, and we've been following Pi Network, right? Haven't we? Been following Pi Network. That is down 13.81%. Why are we following that? Well, because it's a massive phone, crypto. And it has been around for about 6 years, I think 2018, 2019, and it's got like 60 million pioneers. We're going to see how many are actually active, because in crypto people come and go, and but let's say maybe at the top end 10 to 20 mil, and certainly they showed up at PyFest with about 1.5 million interactive users apparently. So it gives you some idea. But still a huge community, and this might do some pretty cool things. But at the moment, down pretty hard, down 14%. They did open up, what did they open up yesterday? They opened up marketing promotion registration for I think for businesses and people doing doing apps, so the app store, kind of the app store, and doing advertising. So I think you had apps you could put it up for advertising revenue potentially. I think that's what was happening yesterday, but it's down dramatically today. So there must have been some pretty bad news there, unless a market maker just decided to smash it. But that is Pi Network. Now you guys know Randy Alaski's in Pi Network, so we're looking forward to seeing that come up there. Yeah, let's see where that goes. All right, so total market cap 2.73 trillion, down 2.8% today on crypto. And we've got our rankings at the moment, top 100, well, top 10, let's say. Bitcoin, Ethereum, BNB is at number 4. We've got Solana at number 6, BNB at number 5, Tron at number 8, Dodge at number, is it Doge? Is it Dodge? You guys let me know. It's hard to say. At number 9 there, and number 10 is ADA or Cardano. Those are our top 10, and they're all red. They're all red, all down. And the worst, of course, is Cardano. That is down. Now, this is not the Pump.Tires Cardano. We'll talk about that in a minute. But let's get into the top, the best performance out of the top 100. But before we do that, let's talk about the first week. So at the moment, the best performer over the last week is Solana, up 20% for the top 10. And that's followed by XRP up 15%. So if you'd been in those, you wouldn't be too unhappy, would you, about that? So that's kind of where we are. Otherwise, they're all up actually about 8-9%. I can see most of them up than 8-9%. Now in the top 100, let's see the best performer. We've got Mantra. That's up 30% after being smashed. We've got to look at that. We've got to look at this. This is carnage, and I feel sorry for people in this, But that's the rally up there. Apparently inside job, right? Inside job, and then bam, down. Still showing green because it's up green, but if it was red down, it would be red, right? It'd be red, red like a roaring tiger. So let's look at the last 24 hours. Let's look at 7 days. That is it. So there's a red one. So what was up? It was up at about $6.14. Went all the way down to 52 cents on the old OM there, 79 cents at the moment. So yeah, there'll be people trading that the bottom of the pile, as it were. That is kind of it for Mantra. Now, the other one, of course, is let's have a look at it. The other one is a tokenized exchange that is up 12%, and Story IP. That's pretty interesting. So if you're into sort of IP stuff, that might be interesting. Up 6%. Those are our best, top 3 performers, followed by Dixie and Fast Token. All pretty modest gains, except for maybe Mantra, which is pretty wrecked. But hey, we got the top performer in the top 100 over the last week. We got Fartcoin up 51%, Flare up 37%, Hyperliquid up 35%, and Render up 31%, followed lastly by Curve up at almost 30% as well. So those are the best performers over the last week in the top 100. That's how we roll. Now, top movers here, we've got top gainers at the moment. Goldfinch up 55%, Ardor up 107%, and Fuel Network up 41%. And there might be some of these interest to you, so it's worth checking out, isn't it? And then trending, we've got XYO Network, Mantra, of course, bouncing off in the bottom feeders. And then we got Wallet Connect token down 25%. That's trending at the moment. So those are kind of what's happening there overall in the crypto. But we're going to get into Pulse Chain and give a quick update. And then we're going to get into Pump.Tires, which is the best of Pump.Tires. And, of course, founded by Richard Hart, which is going to be pretty exciting. I think we can all agree on that. We've got a couple more comments, though, in the chat there before we get to it. So let's go to those. And who is in here? Let's see. We've got Duke and House. Cheers, everybody. I like the cuppa there. I like the cuppa. Is that a beer? Is that a beer? I like beer. I like a light beer. Quite nice. Did someone say food market? Wookie in your food. We got Valiant says, I'm here for the colors. Beautiful screen. And the sound effects are a bonus. I know. The sound effects are pretty crazy. Crazy. We got Craig is one more. Hey, Craig, hope you're doing well. Always a pleasure to see you in the house. And Wookie says, Wook is going to need a cup of tea and a cake. Your little granny. We got Tortoise Johnny in the house there. OMG, Fartcoin. Yeah. I know, but it's been performing like a boss, TJ. Fartcoin's been dominating over the top 100 there. It's pretty crazy, I know, but it's true. All right, so let's get into the markets. And we're going to go back to this view here and get into it. So we got Pulse Day 704. So this is a backdrop for people that are new to Pulse Chain. It launched on the 13th of May, 2023, and it was a full system state fork or copy of all of Ethereum on the 10th of May, 2023. And of course, it had a massive sacrifice raise, over $1.1 billion It's pretty crazy. And the chain is had about, I don't know, 20 black swan events, 10 grey swan events, but the community is strong and the mojo is returning. And of course, we are excited about the innovation opportunity on Pulse Chain. It is looking pretty badass, pretty neat indeed. Now, we did have some news around Pulse Chain, and I guess I should get into that before we lead into the price updates. You can see that for yourself at the moment. Yeah, we had some interesting news coming out around the OA sacrifice wallets, which was pretty interesting, right? So there was Richard Hart moved 4,200 Ethereum, they say, from his SEC wallets, and then started depositing it into Tornado Cash, 100 ETH at a time. Has he been bridging it over to Polestar? I haven't been able to check that, but if anyone is in the chat there or watching knows, let me know. This could be, could be some of the funds he was posting about as well, and we posted a link of that in our crypto chat, so you can check that out as well. So that is something that's pretty interesting. In fact, I might pull that up, and so we can have a look at that on screen. How about that? I'm just talking about it, but might as well pull it up and see we come on there. Not what happened there. Bam. Oh, well, I got the wrong link there, so we're gonna have to go back and get the right link. I don't know what happened there. I got copied everything over. I don't know what happened there. We got everything. All right, so let's go and check out. This is from BB Crypto. Okay. So yeah, Richard Hart moved 4,200 ETH from his SAC wallets and then started depositing it into Tornado Cash. Could this be funds for the wallet he was posting about yesterday? Is Richard Hart cooked and just selling the bottom? So there's all these theories going around about paying for lawyers or P-die maker. There's lots of different things around at the moment. So there we go. That is where we are on that one. So that was pretty interesting. Let's put it in the interesting camp for that. And let's get back to the show. We got any more comments? We got that's pretty much it. All right, so we got that was pretty crazy. We got day 704. We got Pulse at the moment quadruple 0252, only down 1.6%. So pretty much with the market, moving with the market at the moment. Pulse X at quadruple 0207, down 4.6%, and both of those are super cheap right now to accumulate. People that are accumulating these at the moment will be very happy in the future, and it's going to be a lot of fun to talk about. So we are about 5 days away from the SEC extension, as I understand it, 21st, I think it was. So once that expires, it's going to be pretty interesting. They have an extremely weak case. They got beaten in the courts. And we know that the Trump administration is moving away from lawfare and frivolous cases into proper regulations. And so it's just, it should bode in our favor. And after that time, they should say, "Hey, look, we assessed it, and we're gonna let it go." So that's it is a very weak case by in its own merits. And secondly, they would, maybe the only way I could see them saving it if they got a super good lawyer, like a really high powered, super smart lawyer, to redo the whole thing almost. So that would be the only way I could see them trying to save it, but I don't expect that to happen. We got the buy and burn at the moment, 1.375 trillion Pulse X has been bought up and burned. We're now at 6.91% of the public supply. Ink token at the moment, $1.15, down 4.35%. The supply is at 55 million, and we know the inflation rate's been cut by 20x, so it's only 5% of what it used to be. About 0.03 ink per second is going now, but about 2,600. So you can know that the ink's not really going to change that much. And so eventually, I'm suspecting these are all going to run away very quickly. The liquidity has been reduced dramatically on Pulse Chain, and therefore the price, once we get on an uptrend, it's going to run away pretty fast. So it's going to be pretty interesting. Now, there is we do have a lot of people that have sold out on the way, towards this with all the different black swan and grey swan events, and there's always some out there. But I suspect that if we have a nice moving chart upwards, that we can absorb any further selling and have net buying and move up and away, and it will go up very fast there. Hex at the moment is at 0.6 of a penny, down 6%, and that is the biggest mover down at the moment. And EHEX at 1,600 a penny, not really changed from yesterday. So combined price of EHEX and PX at 7,800 of a penny. And of course, Hex had a little mini rally the other day, didn't it? It has tapered off the last 2 days, if I remember rightly. So the other thing that's been happening on the chain is gas prices. They are so volatile and ruthless, and if you're using MetaMask, it can cause you real problems. That is down. That is at 5 million bits at the moment, so it's kind of at the top of the low range. 5 cents for a Pulse X swap at the moment. Validators at the moment 49,145, pretty much the same we've had the last couple of days. That has increased though. It was below 49,000, and it's just gone up the last maybe 4 days ago or so. Bridge, let's have a look at this. The health check. Well, we're down from yesterday. Yesterday we were about 92.6. So we're down about 1.7 million from yesterday. And obviously reflecting just a little bit of a tapering off in the prices. And I'm just looking at PDI there. I think that is down a little bit as well. Sorry, not PDI, EDI there. I think that's down a little bit as well. EHEX, of course, ETH and Rat Bitcoin just tapering a bit. Coast there at 9.4. I'm kind of waiting for the next boost in Coast, right? Boost in Coast. Now, Faster Duel, if you're still watching, you guys need to contact GoPulse because your liquidity fork's not on here. They've got USDL, PXDC, XDC, but there's not your ink printer token. So you guys need to be on here. I don't know why you guys got the biggest liquidity. So maybe hit GoPulse up. Maybe it's just they just haven't I don't know, seen it or whatever. Seems bizarre, but hit them up and see what you can do there. Obviously, Coast is the other stablecoin. We've got four stablecoins that are liquidity forks and one that's fiat backed. Those are our 5 main stablecoins. And we're waiting for PUSD ALGO. And I did a big update on that yesterday. Should I talk about that? I'm going to talk about that quickly before we get to PUMP.Tires, which is our main event, right? PUMP.Tires, our main event here. We're about to get to it next. So let's bring into this update here on PUSD ALGO. I'm going to scroll back down here and check that out. Let's see here. Where did I put PUMP.Tires? Where's my update? Where'd it go? Hopefully I haven't deleted it. I might have deleted it by accident. Sometimes I do that. No. All right, so here it is here. All right, so Pulse Chain's world's first crypto class, world's class algorithmic stablecoin DeFi platform update. So this is the latest and greatest. And you can see here, Signum Oracle is expected to launch within 2 days of the Tetra launch. And of course, that is a reference the evidence, try to do as good as I can. And it is 99.99999% done. The dev is working hard to get them live very soon. So I think it's just going to launch, right? It's just going to launch. They gave away the time frame. On the 17th of January 25, Jacob, the developer and founder of PUSD ALGO, said he wants to see Signum operate as expected. Then we'll provide an updated PUSD ALGO plan, and you got the reference to that there. In the last few weeks, Cult DeFi, Jacob's PR man and a really good guy, let us know that Jacob has hired some devs to bring it to market, and that was the big breaking news, really. That's a big deal. So that's a big deal, and that's what I said. It's a big deal. And I know Jacob is excited about it. Wink, wink. I know Jacob is excited about it. Wink, wink. So don't ask me how I know, but he is. All right, so that's kind of cool. I'm more excited. I think as Cult DeFi does, we both think this is Jacob's flagship project. It is if you know the stablecoin Trilemma, it's the third part of the Trilemma, which we don't have a coin for at the moment. Not only on Pulse Chain, but I would argue globally. There are alternatives out there, and I've gone through that whole list of alternatives. I'm not going to do that today, but we get this algorithmic stablecoin with the stability miners. I really think it's going to be amazing, and we've seen it already work live on Pulse Chain back over a year ago, and it worked extremely well with a peg. So I'm very, very bullish about it. And of course, I think this is the flagship, and this would be the third. This would solve the stablecoin trilemma, which is the third part. The third part's around scalability, and so I'm very, very excited about that. So this could be really good. So it's time to participate now. Obviously, you can check that out, and if you want to participate, you can. And so I'll post that link there, and you can get all the bonuses you want with that link. So read the rest of the post and get into it. Now, remember, up to 7, it's a sacrifice, but it's not like other sacrifices. Up to 75% of the contributions are going to go into the protocol day one, right? So they're going into the LP pools, they're going into the stability miners, things like that. So don't consider it like the other, old school sacs, even though it's been open for some time. Now, because we haven't had an Oracle on Pulse Chain, right? So you can't launch it without an Oracle. We recently had a Fetch Oracle launch, but we got Signum Oracle launching imminently. So well, at least very, 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 very soon with 99.999. So that is kind of where we are. That's why it hasn't launched, even though it was tested, over a year ago, and all the interviews I did with Jacob were over a year ago. That is moving forward, so you can see that that's the latest and greatest. So a lot of people ask me about PUSD ALGO. There's a lot of people participate in it, so hopefully that update's giving you a bit of bit of confidence about where we're heading there. And of course, once we do get the Signum Oracle, Jacob will provide us with an updated PUSD ALGO plan, and of course, he has hired the devs to bring it to market. So seems like it's going to market. All right, so kind of cool. Well, that is where we are on that one. So let's get to the main event, which is Pump.Tires. And Valiant says, can't wait, let's go. Absolutely. All right, so we're going to get to Pump.Tires. So what is Pump.Tires? Well, Pump.Tires is a fork of another protocol. I think it's Fun.Tires, is it? Yeah, I think so. And I think we've got some actually on the, we got one here, don't we? We have, it's a little bit like Moonshot, I think, a little bit like Moonshot here on Deck Screener. And basically, people can launch tokens. There's a fixed supply. Every token has fixed supply of 1 billion tokens. And of course, when you create a new token, you can create one yourself, so everybody can do it. You can then pay as much pulse as you want and get as much as up a lot of supply. I think it taps out about 750 million, something like that. There's only 1 billion tokens. I think it taps out like 750, 800 billion. Someone can let me know in the chat, but it's somewhere between seven. It actually might be slightly higher than 800, maybe 8 to 15 million you can get. I don't think you can get all of them, of course. The rest of them probably go to the Richard, is my guess there. But just that's kind of how it works. And so we've got a couple of people that do that a lot in the Discord and our community. So they do Pump.Tires, but we're going to get into that. So that's the site there, and that was launched by Richard Hart, right? So there we go. And of course, it burns a lot of pulse. It burns a lot of pulse X with the buy and burns and lots of stuff. It creates a lot of extra activity onto the chain. And so this is where we are. So at the moment, at the top there, you see the current king. So the current king at the moment is buy ETH. So what happens is once it gets to a certain market cap, I think it's around about 35,000. You can correct me there, but somewhere around that ballpark, 30, 35. It ends up jumping over to Pulse X and gets pushed into Pulse X there, and then people can buy and sell it over there. So people are sort of speculating on these here and then pushing them over to, and then if it does make it to the king of the hill and does get to the certain market cap, it will go over to Pulse Chain, over to Pulse X, and people will trade it. And then sometimes they really pump pretty hard, right? Now that's people that speculating. People making tokens left, right, and center. But then there are actual project teams. There are actual project teams that decide to launch their tokens on here, and they do it that way. So you got a lot of speculators. Let's say 95%, and then you're getting 5%. Maybe might be the teams launching proper tokens. Probably less than that. Probably one in 100 there. You just saw a new token just jump up there. SMNJL, probably just another spec token that someone's made. It's got a little Michael Jackson picture there. But some of these actually have projects behind them. So you'll have to do a bit of research there to work out which one is which. And they have to have links, but you definitely have to do some research there. You can't just trust the links and stuff like that. So you can see what happens is often too that a lot of bots and a lot of traders come in and they spec it up. Typically they spec it up to maybe about a 33%. So if you see a lot of them get to 32% like this one here, it could just be a speculator and they speculate up to 32% and then they dump on you once you buy, right? So once you buy, so just take care out there on that one. But it's fun. It's fun. People do it. And you can see a couple of them are progressing. Once it gets to the 100%, of course, the top one will go to the current king. And then once it gets to 100%, it will go over to Pulse X. That's pretty much how that works, just as a simple overview. Now, obviously, there's how it works at the top there, so you can actually click that, and it will show you how it all works there. And you should probably do a bit of research playing around, unless you're just going to speculate, and then you can just gamble like it, just gamble on it. So there we go. That's kind of where we are at the moment on these. The king of the hill at the moment is buy ETH. Let's see where that's at, how far that is through. Well, buy ETH there is ticking away there. You can see it's not really made much traction. It's sort of stuck there at the moment, but that might go at 67% the way through the bonding curve. So yeah, we can see the key holders there. When you look through some of the holders, you'll see maybe some of the regular spec traders that are on here or bots that are operating. And so, often they have quite a concentrated amount of token holders. So you can see the person that probably made it here, the top one, has got 46%, which is 462 million out of the 1 billion. So that's kind of just an overview of Pump.Tires. Hopefully that's interesting. And of course, that leads us on to some of the Pump.Tires that are launched. Now, a lot of these Pump.Tires that are on this list are actually, backed by teams and communities. So they actually, care about their project and trying to grow it, grow the brand, and they do lots of other things around it, memes or other tokenomics they build upon it, things like that. So that's kind of where we are. We've got Wookie with the rockets, looking pretty good. All right, where we are. That's where we are there. And we've got a list on here. Now, this is not an exhaustive list, of course, but these are some of the ones that have been performing pretty well lately. You can actually see that Pump.Tires are generally down today. but generally they're also some of the best performers on Pulse Chain recently. So it just happens to be the day that we're picking on, because there's a few other things happening on Pulse Chain, right? A few other projects that are sort of moving, a few other categories that are kind of moving at the moment. So like I said earlier, there's like printer categories, and there's a lot of those that dominate Pulse Chain at the moment. There's some of the big teams, like PGC and others that do well. Teddy Takeover. There's PDI, of course, which is having a lot of action at the moment around the flop auctions. So we'll get into that. We're going to talk about that coming up. So at the moment, we've got Trump token on my list. That is up 10%. And remember, these have supplies of about 1 billion tokens. They're all 1 billion. So they all have different distributions. Very important to look at those too. We've got SolidX here. So SolidX here up 1.5%. These are all, all about 2 months old, right? So SolidX is an exception. It's about 14 days old there. This is set up by Firewall, right? Firewall. And this is the Pump.Tires version of the original SolidX. So the original SolidX is the one that's going to be burned off with the profits of the X game that's going to be launching very, very soon. And then, of course, we got the one meme there that's down just a little bit there today. We got Pulse Chain itself. That is down 2.2%. Cardano, this is obviously Pump.Tires version. Cardano down 5.8%. We got the old PDI there. That is a Pump.Tires that's down 7%, despite the fact that the forked PDI is, as I understand it, rallying at the moment. We've got X Game there. So X Game, you got to see the same sort of branding as SolidX, and you can see that is doing pretty well. In fact, let's go to a bigger screen, see whether that helps. And we'll get rid of the Wookie's comment there. So you can kind of see the pictures, logos a little bit better. And X Game is going to be a big thing coming up. You do not want to miss that, guys. And we're going to be covering a lot. That's from Firewall. That is Randy Alasky's friend. Everyone knows Randy Alasky, big influencer in the Pulse Chain crypto space. And that is coming up. So that's going to be pretty cool. Down 7.7% at the moment. Remember, there's only 1 billion tokens, and these are kind of the meme versions, as it were. But they're probably likely to go up with the SolidX rally there, and especially the X Game one, right? In that case. We've got Best Everything. That is down 7.7%. We've got Most Wanted. Now, we've been talking about Ricky. Ricky is kind of the original. It's not a Pump.Tires. And we've been, a big shout out to IC33 out there and the team for Ricky. And Ricky's been pumping really, really well. And we've been covering that recently. And, of course, this is the Pump.Tires version. This came along later on with the same kind of idea around Most there. And that's down 7.8% today. Then there's Pump.Tires is kind of the main one. Kind of the main token for Pump.Tires. Probably Richard launched it or something like that, but it is down 10%, and that is the one there. And then we got Teddy Bear as well. Now, the one I'm missing off here, which is I'm going to pull up there. So Teddy is Teddy Takeover, and this is backed by like Moon King, one of the big influencers. He's got like 110,000 followers on X. But one of the ones we're going to go find is we're going to go find Cry, right? So Cry is recently launched, and they're a great team, great community over there. And I really like their imagery there, with that. So it's pretty cool. And so yeah, we're going to pull up their Twitter actually, have a look at Cry. Let me just put that back. It's on another screen for some reason. And, they got the old Richard Hart Cry, which I really, really like. So that big shout out to the Cry team. And, they're going strong. And so expect to hear more from them. But that's cool, pretty cool meme. So we've got a couple cool things here. We've got, obviously, been talking about Ricky and Cry. These are all, based around Richard Hart's personality. And it's pretty cool. So they're doing a pretty good job. So big shout out over to that crew there. And we'll probably end up talking a lot more about that coming up as well. So that is Cry. And we're going to add that to the Pump.Tires. Then we add that to the Pump.Tires. Yep. And so that is the chart at the moment. But man, opportunity there for that chart at the moment. So we're going to talk about that later on. So that's kind of where we are at the moment. And we see the Trump probably do pretty well with the old Trump, presidency. And of course, all the cool things he's doing. And we can see a pretty nice rally for the Trump token going up there. Now, you can let me know if you think that I'm missing some key Pump.Tire ones, but I think these are most of the ones that we've got that are doing very well, and a few little new tokens that are just jumping up there. That's up 126% from the bottom. You can see it's doing pretty well. Obviously, we talked about Cry there. Cry obviously had a bit of a sell-off here. Let me go to the daily. Had a bit of a sell-off here, but opportunity abounds, right? Opportunity, you buy low, you sell high, and there's only 1 billion tokens, and it's a small retail play, but you just never know where it might go, and it's got a pretty cool meme there. They got a pretty solid community as well, very solid community. In fact, they're quite engaged, actually. We've got Solid X, of course. This is from Fire Whale, the big whale. He's one of our big whales on Pulse Chain. His net worth used to be like $70 million, but I think it's probably closer to 12 to 15 or something at the moment. But he's coming to Pulse Chain. It's going to be pretty big, and he has got a big marketing budget coming up for this as well. So I think it's going to be a lot of fun to see this take over. So you don't want to fade this. Do your research as usual, but this is looking, it's pretty good priced at the moment to start picking up some of this. Now this is the Pump.Tires version. The OG version is the one that's actually getting burnt. So the Solid X version, and remember, about 30% of the gaming for X Game is going to be on. Is going to go to this, and they're going to have other games as well. So that's going to be in perpetuity. I have to say it with the Irish accent there, just to say that word. In perpetuity. What a terrible word that is. But that's kind of where we are at that. So it's difficult to say, but I'm sure I just got through it. Yeah. Stop it, guys. You guys, as we say, you guys. All right, so that's kind of where we are at the moment. And we got the one meme, the ring. The one ring to rule them all. Now this chart's down as well, so buy low, sell high. Sell high, it's the old thing. But like I say, this is sitting around about 580k market cap. It's only got a few makers at the moment, but this could have a future. We're going to have a look at it. If the community's out there, let's have a chat. We got the Pulse Chain. This is kind of obviously building on the main coin of Richard Hart's. This is also down at the bottom, humming around there. Market cap 130k. It's got a lot more makers on it, 37. But it's once again, it could be interesting. You got to get into the deep dive. You got to look at what's the community like. Are they engaged? Do they care about their project? Do you like what they're doing? All sorts of stuff. How big are they? What's their vision? Are they going to do some marketing promotions? All these different things you got to look at. Do you like the theme of it? Obviously, this is Pulse. Will it go up with Pulse? These are the questions you ask on these things. And then we got Die. Obviously, this is playing on the old PDI. And even though PDI forked is rallying, this is sitting at 00067 at the moment. So, once again, all the same questions. Currently sitting at 675k market cap, 164 makers. So there's a lot more activity there from the market point of view. And you can always check out Twitter. They don't seem to have a Telegram, but they do have a Twitter. Interesting stuff. You have to also look at the holders, right? Who's holding? What sort of holders are they? Are they there for a while? They're looking to build up a community, or are they there for the short term? You've got to look at that as well. There's lots of questions you need to ask about a project. Best everything. I really kind of like this. There's another Richard Hart theme, So Richard Hart theme, they're pretty popular on the Pump.Tires, right? But I think there's only a few good ones that actually ended coming out. So, like Cry, like Most, like Ricky. Ricky's not a Pump.Tires, but, those kind of things that kind of got cool memes around it. This one's the best of everything there. It's got Richard Hart on it, and it's also down at the bottom. So these ones have all, there's a couple that are doing well. There's a couple that are all down at the bottom that may be good buys potentially. Once again, you got to see. But this is at 668 market cap. And we've got 48 makers, so ticking away there. The volume pretty low, 2,000, but still, it's still ticking away. And all you care about with volume, right, is that you got more buyers than sellers, and that it's adequate for what your position is, right? That's kind of the way it goes. X Game. Now we talked about Solid X. We also got X Game. Now the other one we're missing is actually Firewall. So let's pull up Firewall because we might as well not miss the third. There's three of them, right? There's three of them. So let's pick that up. Now, I did go through the top 100 and other ones to try and pick off some of the bigger, better Pump.Tires. So, if I am missing one, let me know because it's not. Do my best to try and get them all, but not always the easiest. So let's go to Pump.Tires, and there it is. So we're got Pump.Tires coming in. Firewall, we got that. So X Game, this is going to be massive. All I can say. What else can I say about this? This will be massive, and this one here is sitting at 0.2 of a penny. And it's held up pretty well. And 2 million market cap, 89k liquidity, 69 makers. This is probably a pretty good zone to pick this up. Once again, not to do your own due diligence, but X Game is coming, and I think it's going to be one of the two biggest games on Pulse Chain, and of course potentially scaling up into a sort of a full casino offering. And who else is doing that? Jacob, of course, what I argue is the world's best peer-to-peer dev. So it's going to be fun on Pulse Chain. We're going to have more games and commercial games, right? So people making mad gains. This is also going to have a referral code, 30%, right? So it's going to be potentially extremely lucrative and potentially extremely viral. And we may see some pretty action. Also a big marketing budget behind it. coming to Pulse Chain, and we highlighted it as one of our top 5 projects. Remember, PUSD ALGO too. Right? Those were 2, Xgame and PUSD ALGO highlighted as my top 5 projects coming to Pulse Chain. Pretty big deal. And of course, we've got Signum and Tetra launching imminently as well. So those are 3 out of our top 5. So exciting times. We recently saw, of course, Sun Mini Meal, one of our top 5 as well. Burn its keys, and I believe it started to burn the token as well, with revenue from that big corporate in Europe that's going global. So that's another bullish one also. So lots of cool things happening on Pulse Chain. I really feel the tempo is starting to lift. Liquidity pools are thin. Richard's doing some moves. We've got really cool projects coming to Pulse Chain. It is really starting to hum there, and bring it on. And once we get through, I think that SEC thing on in 5 days' time or so, it's game on. Really should be good. All right, so that is X Game, and not bad. And then we got, did I talk about Most Wanted? Yeah, I did. I'm pretty sure I did. No, I didn't. I talked about Most Wanted. Now, we've been talking about Ricky, right? So Ricky is the original Richard Hartman, and that chart's been absolutely pumping lately. This is the sort of the Pump.Tires copy of that, and it is sitting at 0.4 of a penny at the moment. Definitely a bit of a sell-off here, and but they've 192 makers at the moment. What's the liquidity? 113k, so it's a lot more better volume, but definitely something to check out there as well. So we've got 2 that are dueling in the same sort of place. This is what happens. Pump.Tires can sort of clone and copy the others, but sometimes they have a good community or not. Certainly worth checking out there. And we did look at Ricky, right? So let's have a look at Ricky. This is not a Pump.Tires, but we have been talking a lot about Ricky lately. This was the original one, right? And I think it's had a pretty good move in the charts here. So this is not Pump.Tires, but this is the original one. Launched in January, I think it was, before Pump.Tires launched. And that is the current price at the moment. So you can sort of see it's had a little bit of a bounce recently, which hasn't been too bad. So what's that up now at the almost 10x off the bottom? You can't complain about 10x. It's a little retail play, relatively speaking. I mean, it's got $1 million market cap now, but fit 85 makers, liquidity 17k. But little 10x there in the last 16 days. You can't complain about that. We've been covering this one, right? We've been covering Ricky there. So most is kind of basically a Pump.Tires version of that, and that's where the chart's looking at the moment. So there we go, 40 million market, but of course the price is pretty high there. So we're going to keep following those. Let's get back into. I've just lost my spot here. Let me just get back to where I was. And we got Pump.Tires, so let's jump back down. We've talked about all those. And what do we got? Most Wanted here. Now, Firewell. So we've got 3 here. SolidX, Xgame, and Firewell. Those are all launched by Firewell, the whale. And, of course, he's obviously ramping up for this now. They're all his kind of main coins. Now, he controls a lot of the supply of SolidX and Xgame, as I understand it, but not as much of Firewell, just because of the way it went, I think, pretty fast. So, Firewell is probably the most held by the public. It's not held by him, whereas he dominates the supply of SolidX and Xgame. Just take that into account. Very important. And Firewell there is the third token. It kind of represents him, kind of a meme of himself. And it's currently sitting at about 561k, 668k liquidity. So it's got good liquidity, 76 makers. And this is pretty much off the bottom as well. So there's some real opportunities here. Dropping a lot of tip and a lot of alpha drops here for you guys. So definitely check it out. Wiki says go Ricky. And we've got the USA in-house, their Treasury in-house. And let's get into... that's kind of where we are for Firewell. So those 3 are part of the memes. And of course, the original one is PulseX. SolidX is the original. So that's different from these 3 Pump.Tires. Just want to be very clear about that. And that's the one. The other one is going to be burned, right? So it's going to be burned. We're going to look at that probably in a minute. We'll probably pick that up. But those are the new rebrandings. Obviously, we got Pump.Tires, which is kind of the main one for the Pump.Tires. This is kind of the Richard Hart one. And, 9.3 million market cap, 256,000 liquidity, 240 makers, 55k volume. So you can sort of see it's got decent numbers. And down 10% today, though. So all the Pump.Tires are kind of a little bit down for the most part. Probably 90% of them are down. But these have been one of the top performing categories on Pulse Chain. And I don't imagine that's going to slow down. You're going to have to pick your winners, though. And hopefully we've just gone through most of the major ones that we've noticed. And so you can decide which ones you think may be a good pickup. So that's Pump.Tires at the moment, sitting at 93. Now, I guess as Pulse Chain does well, Pump.Tires will maybe considered well, and therefore maybe this token will really rally as the main sort of branded token for the Pump.Tires. So That's something that's sort of the narrative there. You have to look at the holder supply. I'm not sure. I haven't looked at the supply numbers, but you can check that out too. Always do your due diligence. And then finally, Teddy Takeover or Teddy Bear. Now, this here has got the big backing of Moon King, right? So huge backing from Moon King. He's got about 110,000 followers, lots of other big influencers there. And he's been a big proponent of this. Now, as I understand it, he's not the one that launched this, but this launched on Pump.Tires. And this is probably one, just like Pump.Tires, this is probably one of the better opportunities in terms of, high quality with big influencer support. And this is currently sitting, after a bit of a retrace here, got all the way up to got to 7/10 of a penny. It's currently at just below 38/100th of a penny, so just below 4/10 of a penny there at the moment. Looks like it bounced off 3/10 of a penny. So this could be potentially a good entry for this, after a bit of a retrace. So what's that retrace? That retrace is about, down to the bottom, it's a 61% retrace. It's currently down only 50%. So there we go. That's a pretty decent retrace. And if you look at Fibonacci, it's probably hit that number and is retracing there. And like I say, has quite a bit of support. So that could be, what I'd call one of the blue chip pump ties. So what would I call blue chip on here? So I'd call it Teddy. They're all got risky. They're all risky, right? So Teddy, Pump. I would definitely say Fire, Whale, Solid X, and X Game are in the blue chips there. What else there? Most wanted seem to have quite a degree of support as well. Maybe Best Everything there. What else there? And maybe the Pulse one and Cardano, maybe those ones. But of course, the up and comings, you might see up and comings like Cry and others sort of come out of the blocks there as one of the up and comings. So it's worth checking those out as well. We'll see. It's all about the engagement, right? All about the community and getting out there, growing community, promoting, and all that sort of good stuff. So that's probably where we are at the moment. We've got lots of comments there from Free ES. Boo, Moon King is trash. Is free. Yeah, well, we try to be nice in the chat. We try to be nice. Try to be nice as we can. I mean, it's hard not to be sometimes. I get it, but we've got to try to be nice there. Buy a real coin that has real utility, which yields you dual hex treasury. Well, you're pumping that and that you're spamming my chat. Have I got no mods? I've got no mods. Where's my mods? All right, so that's kind of where we are. Yeah. You don't over spam, dude. I don't mind a couple of comments, but you're over spamming there. That's all right. You're welcome. Yeah. All right, cool. I don't mind the treasury pump, but no need to put all the other stuff in there. All right, so let's move on. That is pretty much the pump tires. That is the category, one of the top performing categories. Down today, though, just so happens to be the case there. But just goes to show you, I'm not just going to cover these on a green day, right? I could cover these on a green day, and you'll be, oh, well, they're all green. But this is where they are. This is reality, right? Markets go up and down, and those are a good preview. So there we go. That is the pump tires, the best of pump tires. And I don't know if I missed any, but you can let me know afterwards, and I might pick those up in another conversation. But that is kind of the best ones I've seen out there so far. And there are tons, right? There are tons that do make it. So they migrate over from pump tires over to there. Now let's have a look at the overall markets on PulseStream and check that out. And we've got IYKYK. We got IYKYK. I don't know who makes these names up, but anyway, we got that coming out there. I think it's IU know something. I can't remember, but it's something like that. Anyway, it's a printer token, and it's related to Remember, which is another printer token, and Remember is another big. So printer tokens are another big category, right? Pump tires, obviously massive category. So Richard Hart set it up, and of course, printer tokens are a whole new category that's vibrant. With the LP webbing and balancing and all that sort of stuff going on, so this has been pretty huge, right? And this is just launched. Now you have to benefit from this one. You have to have I think it's a trillion. Is it a trillion? Trillion Remember tokens. I think it's a trillion Remember tokens. I forgot. That's a fun. All right, so no jokes. All right, so that's good. I understand. Appreciate it. But this is kind of where it's ticking at the moment. Now, had a big rally overnight, and pumped all the way up there to $10.41. And then, man, you don't want to buy the top, right? This is the thing. You never want to buy the top. And came down to $5.74. So yeah, you'd be down quite a bit if you bought the top. 50%. Let's say you don't want to be that guy. Or girl, that matter. Now we've got a Tropa Die coming out. This has been around for over a year. So good old James Maria. is up 56% today, following up the PDI. PDI up through the roof there. And in fact, let's pull up PDI. So I'm going to do that through Pulsecoin. Let's always find it easier to find it here. We can see that's up a lot there. So let's have a look at the PDI, and it is mooning. It's up would be 50%, up 50%. So PDI, yeah. Not bad, right? PDI. So it pumped. It was sitting around, around 1900th of a penny. And of course, this is from PUSD Maker Theory. And it's back up here at 0.3 of a penny. So it's had quite a bit of rally. Obviously, had some pretty big drama back here. But it's a bit pumped. And so there we go. There's pumped there. Big shout out to Pulse Coinless providing all that alpha. So we got also USDC. This has been around, obviously forked. I think there's a fork version. 47%. So another stable coin up there. So PDI, USDC, USD Tether, all the fork copies. And so that's up as well, 47%. So the whole PDI Maker theory is really rallying, pumping today. The other one, of course, is OG Teddy Bear. So the original Teddy Bear, not the Teddy Bear takeover. This is up 46%. So that's doing really well. And of course, this is tied into the old PDI, right? So it's got PDI pair. There's a PDI pair. So it's pumping on the back of the PDI pair. So you can sort of see PDI is driving all the top tokens today. That's pretty much it, apart from the printer token, IYK. So they're kind of the top ones there, all up 45% or so. USDC, there's a USD Tether, so it's all part of the PDI thing. So those are the two things that we're seeing a rally. The printer token at the very top, and then the rest of them are all PDI related, right? And why is that? Well, let's go have a look. So here is the PDI. This is pmakersimple.com. Now, if you guys want to follow PDI narrative, and I know people love it, some people love it, some people hate it. Now, I try to stay in the neutral zone. Sometimes I do move in favor. Sometimes I move against. I know that there's lots of super major problems like around oracles, historical pricings, price ratios inside the internal oracle. So if you know, PDI Maker has, so the Maker has an internal oracle. Those prices are wrong. And it also doesn't have an external oracle, which is what Maker bought over on Ethereum. I think it was 2021. They added an external oracle, which was Chainlink, right? So we don't have any of that, right? The first oracle we got on Pulsechain that's independent from anybody creating an internal oracle in their protocol was Fetch Oracle, and that was about 3 weeks or 4 weeks ago. That was launched by Liquid Loans. Now, obviously, we're waiting for Signum Oracle. Stu, the dev founder there, is racing to try and get that to the market, and that is very, very close. I think they're both basically teleforks, if I understand correctly, and we're waiting for, but Signum is going to have a few more bells and whistles, as I understand it, like random number generators and so forth. So it's going to be pretty interesting. So we will have two oracles operating on Pulsechain. And so we know that PUSD ALGO is definitely going to be using the Signum Oracle because they participated in the Signum tokens, and they're going to be acting as a reporter, but also because they will have, as I understand, the extra tools like random number generators and stuff like that. Now, that's kind of where we are. Let's see what else we got on the house there. We got. Brendan says, if you know, you know. Come on, Super, keep up with the lingo. Yeah, sorry, I fell behind that. I fell behind. It happens. We got there. What's the most surprising, Brendan, is that you know that. You know what that is. That's what's struggling me. Brian says, sup, folks? Say, Brian. Yeah. And what else there? We got a couple other comments there. Facts, says Brendan. Facts. Brandon's in the house there. Treasury. We've got two Treasury people in the chat there today. Yeah, Treasury doing pretty well. We'll probably cover that on another day. Another Treasury one there. We covered it the other day, but we'll cover it again probably in the future. All right, Principal, ETX, and PX. Yep, we'll cover that again on another day, Brandon. All right, so cool. That is where. So PDI Maker is driving the market performance today. And why is that? Well, because the joy had dropped. So yesterday, before I tuned in for the evening, it was sitting at over 100 million. Over 1 million, I should say. What was it sitting at, actually? Let me pick it up. I just got to remember. Now, I'm starting to forget now because we're just forgetting here. But I had posted it out here, and I thought it was 102 million. So let me double check to see if 102 million is right. So that's what I posted out yesterday. It was 102 million, yeah. So at least I got that right. So it was 102 million. And that is the amount of asset available to cover the debts, right? And the debts are in the ore here. The ore is sitting at 1.5 billion PDI. So that's this covers this when you fail. There's 3 ways of covering ore, as I understand it. And once that fails, the person doesn't cover it. So basically, this if the person covers it, then this disappears, and the joy can cover it too. But if it fails to be covered, and in other words, there's no joy left, it's kind of the last step standing. If there's no joy left, or there's no asset to cover it in the pool for the people. So the ore is individual debt, right? All accumulated there. If there's not enough system assets to cover that, then that will then go to the sin, and it would have to go to the woe there and become bad debt, and it has to be covered right through auctions. So once there's no joy, it goes to 0. The auction status will be able to be called. So yesterday it was callable. So that was pretty interesting. So, but it comes in and out, right? So as soon as the joy gets back up, so we've got another 100. As soon as the joy goes back up, in this case it went to 0. So the joy went to 0. As you can see, it's dropped all the way down to 500,000 there. So that was actually at 0, and the auction status is called. So everyone got excited because obviously when the auction gets called, this is the flop auction, right? Then they'll issue some maker tokens, and people will have to bid for those in PDI, and that will destroy the PDI, right? And then for the maker there, it will allow you to take over the maker contract. It's kind of the basic idea of what's going on with this. So pretty big deal there from the community point of view. Now, we've been waiting weeks and weeks and weeks for this event. It keeps getting pushed out, right? But looks like we're pretty close to that event, and that's a huge deal. And of course, ideally, they want to try and take over the maker contract and then try and fix it up and all that sort of stuff. So we'll see. There's still a lot of technical hurdles around that, even if it's possible. Now, the original founder for Maker talked about replaying the whole Maker, basically replaying all the transactions back to the beginning. So I don't know how possible that is, because we still don't have oracles, in historical prices. So I still think there's quite a few hurdles there. But we'll see. We'll see where it hits. And of course, there's an exploiter out there, right? And whether it's a good or bad actor, typically it's seen as a bad actor with millions of dollars exploited out of the Pulse chain. But we will see. The community is pretty big in PDI, pretty charged community. And so, we'll see what happens here. But certainly, we're coming up to a big event. And let's see what happens with this. Will it? I don't think we're gonna have a shortage of bidders. There's not gonna be a shortage of bidders, so it's gonna be funny. And can they take over the contract? Now, there are a lot of people with maker tokens that not even know that PDI makers over on Pulse Chain that hold large maker holdings. So we'll see what happens there too. So that is kind of where we're at the moment. Now, did I paste that over? I said I was going to post that link there. Yeah. So that's the link there. If you want to save to your favorites, you can copy the excitement. And of course, they do have a Telegram group, so you can join the PDI Telegram. It's massive, right? Massive. Somi's in there too. Somi's kind of the number one influencer still covering it. Moon King, as far as I know, has abandoned it, or at least officially. And also OG Teddy Bear and moved on to Takeover Teddy. So we'll see how all that plays out too. Sometimes people say that they get back into it secretly. I don't know. We'll see. Brian says nothing prints hex or e-hex other than T-shares. Please change your shilling vernacular, says Brian. Valiant's in the house there. It's getting real, says Valiant. Indeed. It's definitely looking pretty positive. You die. If you die, you die, says Woogie. If you die, you die. All right, we've got MVS in the house there. Big shout out to MVS, crushing it out there. MVS is in our promotions team. He's our promotions lead and doing an amazing job there. So if you are in a project team and you want to get your project moving forward, you definitely contact MVS and myself. So get out there and we'll try and do our best to help you out. We like to match good projects with good potential with with the people, as it were, in crypto. So kind of cool. And let's get into it. So that's kind of where we are at the moment. These are all the PDIs are running hard there. Die Hard, of course, related to is doing pretty well. So it earns DAI. So that's doing pretty well. That's up 40% too. So all PDI related. Then we start getting to non-PDI stuff, right? We've got Doubt Token, that's up 10%. Gelato there up 10%. These have been around 18 days and 4 months. We've got Remember. Okay, so now we've got the printer token. So this is the top one. This is the new one, just launched, right? Only within the last day or something. And then we've got the Remember. This is the one that you have to hold like 1 trillion of it to be able to get the benefit of that other token. But of course, everyone else can buy and sell it, and that's what makes the benefit so good. So this is the original one here. It had a big pump yesterday, and is not doing too bad at the moment. It's kind of been in this range of 7 zeros, 1200, and so that's not doing too bad. So there we go. That is the one. And of course, by holding Remember, you get Pulse, right? Volume's pretty cool too. 1.5 million over 100K. So people are getting a lot of pulse just by holding Remember, and these are what we call printer tokens, right? You hold it, and the token gets dropped to your wallet. So you're getting pulse dropped to your wallet based on the volume, and of course they've got mechanics which run reverse liquidity engineering, LP webbing, things like that. So they've got lots of cool little things there. You do have to keep up with the team to see what they're going to change amongst all the different printer tokens. There's a lot of them, right? All part of the same ecosystem. So you've got to be, some of them move at different times. They make changes at different times. So you do have to keep up with that on the printer token category. But like I say, two of the most powerful printer categories on Pulse Chain in terms of performance have been Pump.Tires, have been printer tokens. And of course, as you can see, another big category is the PDI maker theory. And that is dominating today. That's taken over all the light, sucked out all the oxygen. It is the one that's moving today. So that's kind of cool. So I hope you guys have been enjoying their coverage of all these different categories. And like I said, Solidx is going to be pretty big. Very bullish about that. And it could be a viral killer app. We're after viral killer apps, right? A bit like the Friends app on Base Chain. We're after some sort of viral killer app that it really goes crazy. And if we can get 2 or 3 of those, man, that's really, really good. All right, so that's kind of it on the tokens. Now we want to jump over to something else. I think, Richard Hart tokens here. They're all kind of down just a few percent at the moment, but man, what an opportunity right now to get into the RH stuff. I mean, because bad tokens are going to fall away when Richard Hart tokens starts rallying, and then some of the good tokens that will be a leverage on Richard Hart tokens will really start running away. And I'm thinking of things like PDC and stuff like that. So it's going to be pretty awesome to see that all play out, including a lot of the DeFi projects. Now, if you haven't seen that, I did a video covering all of the quality DeFi projects, which haven't really been outperforming most of the time. We have seen a bit of movement recently in the DEXs, a little bit of movement in the liquidity forks. But apart from that, there's a whole bunch of them, and I covered, I don't know how many there were, 25, something like that. And these are quality DeFi projects on Pulse Chain to a varying degree, all varying strengths and weaknesses. But if you haven't checked out that video, that's really, really awesome. And I expect that category to do better as we move forward, as Pulse Chain stuff starts rallying, right? And people go, oh, let's turn back to the lending protocols, the stablecoin, the DeFi protocols that are pretty like big forks. So PH Universe, for example, they launched early on. They launched forks of GMX, which is pretty much leveraging on Pulse Chain. That has not, the usage that has dropped off, even though there's a lot of assets in there. The actual usage dropped off, but people are going to go long on Pulse Chain. That's something that they could use to get more gains. You can go up to 30x there. I wouldn't recommend that. Typically 3.3 to 5x is probably the most you want to do, but people will do that. And of course, they launched, so not only GMX, they launched Balancer, fork of Balancer and fork of Aave. So they did all these things, and those are just sitting on the side. They've still got lots of LP, lots of TVL in it, but they're kind of sitting there, and I expect a lot of those to do quite well moving forward. So it's another category, and you've got to check out that video if you want to go through the old list again. I've done the work for you, and you can go check that out, and then you can do your due diligence after that, right? But that's kind of the play on that one. So we're pretty excited where this will head here. So kind of cool. That brings us into, I guess, we're 1 hour, and I've got to, trying to stay towards 1 hour. So that's kind of where we are at the moment. And let's see where the Pump.Tires go. This PDI flop auction goes. This is a big deal. And the market's responded already. Let's see how high this goes. It could be pretty exciting. I know the PDI group on Telegram is through the roof. The number of comments in there is like no other Telegram group at the moment on Pulse Chain. It has gone on fire in there. So if you want to get some action, you know where to go. Take your cigarettes. No, just kidding. What else there? We got a couple other comments. Let's see here. We got OG WebChef breakdown, says crypto MVS. What else there? We've got some other comments here. Joy just dropped to 0 again. I did it. Let's pull that up. Boy, there's Joy's gone to 0, and the auction status says can call auction now. Thanks for that, Valiant. That is the excitement there. Now it's got a 156-hour wait period. So let's see. It's going to be hard. It's still going to be difficult, but 156-hour wait period. We'll see. We'll see whether anything floods into the Joy there. There we are. We got bad debt in there now at 2 million. So what happens is in the ore, if that's not solved by like there's 3 basic mechanics as I understand it. One of them is the individuals. If that's not solved there, then it goes to a system solution, right? And that's when we get to the flop auctions. That's basically what it is. So it goes from kind of individual solutions to solve that with the joy and the individual, and then it goes back to if that fails, if all those mechanics fail, then goes to a system safety mechanism, which is pretty much the flop auctions, and that will then issue maker tokens put up for auction. People bid with PDI, and you burn the PDI off, and the maker there can be used if there's a large amount. They think it's going to be a significant amount of P maker that they can actually take over the contract. So that's kind of, I think, where it's all heading there at the moment. Brendan says people begging for pigging. Wookie is begging for a pudding. Rice cakes are the only for frisbee golf. Yoda says, "Oh, that's crazy." All right, so I hope you guys have enjoyed it. We've got about 70 people watching at the moment, so big shout out to everybody. Appreciate it, and don't forget to share my socials around. Join up today. Join up on Rumble. Hit the follow button. Join up on X. Hit the follow button. We just hit 300 on X, so big shout out there. We're just climbing our way back up again after being, unfairly dismissed by or suspended by X. With our big account there, so we're just building back better. And join up and subscribe on YouTube and also Telegram, right? So join up to Telegram as well. And I think I posted the link at the very top there for Telegram. So join up today. There it is. And our Discord. Our Discord's a private Discord. We have a community membership there and a strategy club. So if you want to join up and get the most on the strategy, definitely join up to that around crypto. And I've got it scheduled to do a update for that today. So definitely get in there. I've got to get that done. All right. I hope you guys enjoyed the show. Take care, everybody. And I'll catch you on the next one. Another great topic for next show will be fun. And I'll let it be a surprise. All right. Take care, everybody. And thanks very much for the comments. Absolutely awesome comments today. And thanks, Brian, for posting the link. That's the link to the Discord. Join up today. Become part of an awesome community. Let's go. See ya. Catch you later.